Good afternoon. I want to thank you for your attendance. Since this is my first press conference, let me introduce myself to you first. My name is An Myung-hun. I'm the ambassador and deputy permanent representative of the permanent mission of DPRK to the United Nations. The permanent mission of the Democratic People's Republic of Korea today has requested the press conference in order to inform the journalists accredited to the United Nations of the proposal which the government of the DPRK has put forward to the government of United States, and the background and intention behind the proposal. We, in the government of the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, proposed to the United States to temporarily suspend the joint military exercises which it conducts every year in the territory of South Korea. And if this is the case, we will respond by also temporarily suspending the nuclear tests which the United States is concerned about. As you know, this year will mark the 70th anniversary of the liberation of Korea and Korean nation. At the same time, unfortunately, it will mark the 70th year since the division of Korea. For the last 70 years, in those decades, the world has made tremendous advance, and the times have undergone dramatic changes, but still the division of Korea and Korean nation continues. All of the Korean nation has, for the last 70 years, suffered a great pain of the division. It is a deplorable fact to everybody. And we, the Korean nation, can no longer tolerate and bear this tragedy. So, our respected Marshal Kim Jong-un, the first chairman of the National Defense Commission of the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, has taught in his news address about the ways and means and proposals to address the national reunification and to improve the relations between the North and South of Korea. This year will hold the slogan, "Let the whole nation join efforts to open up a broad avenue to independent reunification in this year of the 70th anniversary of national liberation." In his New Year address, our respected Marshal Kim Jong-un has devoted much part of it to the issue of national unification, to improving the relations between North and South of Korea. In view of the existing realities and circumstances that are taking place on the Korean Peninsula, it is very important first to remove the danger of war, ease the tensions, and create peaceful environment on the Korean Peninsula in order to achieve a real progress in improving the relations between the North and South of Korea. For this, the large-scale war exercises which are undertaken every year in South Korea jointly by the United States and South Korea must stop immediately, because the large-scale war games held every year in South Korea are the root cause of the escalating tension on the Korean Peninsula and the danger of nuclear war facing the Korean nation. It is needless to say that there can be no real or trustful dialogue, nor improved inter-Korean relations in such a gruesome atmosphere in which war exercises are staged against the dialogue partner. In this regard, the United States holds major responsibility. For the last 70 years, since the division of the nation, the United States has intervened in the internal affairs of the Korean nation. They intervened in the dialogue and cooperation between the North and South of Korea. It is the policy of the United States hostile towards the DPRK that has hindered progress in the relations between the North and South of Korea. And every year they undertook dangerous military exercises against the DPRK. If we look back at only several years, last several years, the scope and times of the military exercises undertaken by the United States in the territory of South Korea has increased. Already from the end of February up to the end of the year, they undertake various kinds of military exercises like K-Resolve, Sangnyong, Ulchi Freedom Guardian, Max Sanders, and etc. And the scope is increased with each passing year. taking advantage of those military exercises, they introduce more sophisticated military equipments into the South Korea. Even nuclear-capable military equipments are introduced under the pretext of regular military exercises. They introduce strategic bombers, anti-aircraft carriers, and submarines, nuclear submarines. Whenever these military exercises are conducted in the territory of South Korea, all the amicable atmosphere came to be spoiled. So it is very important from the past experiences that the United States stop these kinds of dangerous military exercises. In order to remove the danger of war and ease the tension and create peaceful atmosphere on the Korean Peninsula, this year we propose to the United States that United States should at least this year temporarily suspend military exercises. But the United States administration responded by saying that military exercises are different, a separate issue from the nuclear test issue. In other words, they do not want to accept our proposal. Since we have made this proposal against the background of this year, which will mark the 70th anniversary of the liberation of the country, and also 70th year since the division of the nation. It is a very meaningful and significant proposal. By refusing to accept our proposal of the government of the DPRK, the United States has shown once again that they will continue to increase attack military capabilities in the South Korea, while requesting us to not to have our own national defense capabilities. This is absolutely unacceptable and cannot be justified by anything. Now is the time when the United States stop pursuing this anachronistic policy hostile to the DPRK and acts of aggression, and should be bold enough to choose a different approach, to change its course, that is, change its policy hostile to the DPRK. we are ready, and the government of the DPRK is ready to explain its intention behind this proposal directly to the United States. We are ready for that. If the United States wants additional explanation about our proposal. If this proposal is put into practice this year, many things will be possible this year on the Korean Peninsula. So it has very meaningful implications. And that's why we have put forward this proposal directly to the United States government. So I would like to underline once again that in view of the prevailing circumstances and reality that exists on the Korean Peninsula, it is very, very important, paramount important, to create atmosphere which is easing tensions, removing danger, and creating amicable atmosphere to have real dialogue and cooperation between the South and the North of Korea. This is the information that I want to share with you during this press conference, and I hope that our proposal has been made clear to all of you present here. I thank you very much once again for your attendance and for your attention. If you have any questions, but I would like to confine myself to this specific proposal today. Please.
Hello. Good afternoon. My name is Shauna McGee, and on behalf of the United Nations Correspondents Association, we'd like to thank you very much for hosting this briefing and holding it, and we hope that you will continue as your predecessor did. And today you talked about your proposal. How would you like to see that implemented? How would you like to see that carried out? What are the next steps in the proposal? And I would also like to ask you a question about the Sony cyber attacks. Today it was reported that the United States said the cyber attack is only the first step to isolate the country and that further financial institutions may be targeted. How would you respond to that? Thank you very much.
Before we proceed further, my intention is to have all questions and then answer to the relevant questions. And also, I will be grateful if you could identify yourself before proceeding to questions. Thank you.
Sorry, I failed to identify myself. Shauna McGee with Kyodo News. Thank you.
Yes, please. Yes, please.
Yes. I'm Rhonda Haubin, and I write for Taz.de. I'm a blog columnist. And my question is, you said that many things will be possible.
Which agency do you?
It's actually I have an online column at Die Tageszeitungs website, but I write in English. It's in Germany, but I write in English, and it's available on the internet. My question is, you said that many things will be possible if the U.S. will engage in discussion about this and will participate in talking about it. Can you say a little bit about what might be possible? And And also, I think there are will be some unofficial negotiations. Are you at all hopeful that that can raise these issues? I think in Singapore, a 1.5, they're not actually government to government there, but I wondered if that can help discuss all of this, and I think that's supposed to happen in not too long from now. Thank you.
I don't know. Who is the next, please?
Hello, Ambassador. Jonathan Wachtel with Fox News. Sir, why doesn't North Korea simply suspend its nuclear program? Why not do that gesture and then see what happens in terms of the exercises and all the other things you want to achieve? And also, could you please, in follow-up to my colleague's earlier question, give the latest position that North Korea has on the film, The Interview, and accusations that Sony Pictures was hacked by North Korean hackers?
우리 다음 일정 있던가? 다음 일정? 몇 시간 되나? How many minutes we have more? 10 minutes?
Thank you, Mr. Ambassador. You were proposing a meeting with U.S. government officials. Have you made any kind of a request for such a meeting? Have you made any overtures for this? And as a follow-up to your request, obviously we've all read what the State Department's initial reaction was. You appear to be saying, no, you don't want to accept that reaction, and that the United States should think again about this rejection. Is that a correct interpretation?
Which agency did you represent?
I'm terribly sorry. Edith Lederer from the Associated Press.
Yes, I'll take two more questions, please. Yes.
So James Bays from Al Jazeera. Can you spell out for us what it would mean if your request was accepted, what that could lead to, and spell out to us what it could mean if your request is rejected?
Mr. Ambassador, Michelle Nichols from Reuters. As you mentioned, and as others have reiterated, the State Department or the United States has rejected your offer. Does North Korea now plan to carry out a nuclear test? And a second question, did you watch the Golden Globes ceremony on Sunday, and do you have a response to the remarks that were made about North Korea during the Golden Globes awards ceremony on Sunday?
What's the second part of the question?
The Golden Globes awards ceremony, and there was a few jokes made at the expense of North Korea. I'm just wondering if you have any reaction to that.
Thank you for your questions. I will confine myself to the topic that I have taken up through this news conference. As I have explained to you, we propose to the United States that they would temporarily suspend joint military exercises this year. And if this is the case, we will take corresponding appropriate measure by temporarily suspending nuclear tests. This proposal is to really create atmosphere which will be conducive to peace and stability on the Korean Peninsula, which will in turn contribute to promoting genuine dialogue and cooperation with regard to the Korean issues. Now the United States rejected this proposal, saying that it is separate issue each other. It is not linked. By saying this, they again showed that they would continue to pursue the policy that they have pursued so far against my country. They want to pursue their strategic interests in the Northeast Asian region. I don't want to respond at this stage to any if questions, since our proposal has many implications. We continue to take up this issue, take up this proposal, and we'll see. Again, I want to underline that in view of the prevailing circumstances and reality on the Korean Peninsula, it is paramount important to create atmosphere for real, genuine dialogue and cooperation, easing tensions and removing any danger of war. And number one, which will contribute to this, is stopping joint military exercises. And if this is the case, as my government has mentioned, many things will be possible. I cannot go any further at this stage. Many things will be possible this year on the Korean Peninsula. I thank you very much. I hope to have a contact in the future too. Thank you.
Ambassador, how did you initially convey this offer to the United States? Did you meet with Ambassador Power? How did you initially convey the offer to the United States?
We made an offer on 9th of January through appropriate channel.
What are those appropriate channels?
There is a channel between my country and the United States.
Can you give us,
since long ago.
can you give us any more detail on that?
And if I say one more thing, which was taken up through your questions. My country has nothing to do with the Sony hacking. It is out of sense to do that. And we really want United States to provide evidence We even requested to United States to undertake joint investigation. It is totally arbitrary and out of established hostile policy against my country to impose any kinds of pressure against my country, which we cannot accept at all. Thank you.
You presented the plan at the UN. Do you think that you can extend the invitation to the Secretary General to visit North Korea?
Ambassador, is the proposal to the United States off the table now? Is it over? Sir, does it remain? Even though the State Department of the United States has rejected your proposal, does that mean that North Korea is withdrawing the proposal?
We'll still see.
Was it affected by the opening to Cuba? Sir, was it? Was it affected by it?